Well, just imagine, if you were to ask an average person what motivates him in his career, what do you think the answer would be? If your guess is money, you'd be wrong nearly 8 of 10 times. Now I'll tell you more about this. Here at business school, we are learning to be successful managers, and the work of manager is to ensure that staff works efficiently in an organization. To achieve this, it is clear that a manager should know what motivates people. Only in this case, he can create the conditions in which employees will perform to their maximum potential. So, my name is... I'm sorry. My name is Ekaterina Dmitrieva, and as you have already understood, today I'm going to talk about motivation, and especially that our motivation is not only about money. I'm going to cover 3 main points. Firstly, main theories of motivation. Secondly, the set of studies on the topic. And thirdly, the key factors that motivate people. Now, let me start from the motivation theories. Certainly, there are many of them, but the most famous ones are Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs and Frederick Herzberg's 2-factor theory. The first one classifies human needs in ascending order of importance from basic physiological needs to high self-actualization needs. The point is that when a need of a lower level is met, it stops being a motivating factor. Money belongs to security needs. It is here almost at the bottom of the hierarchy, and here above there is plenty of needs to be satisfied. So, money is not the main motivator. When a person receives some amount of money, it stops being motivated to him. Frederick Herzberg's theory also denies the role of money as the motivating factor. It is the hygiene factor that doesn't bring satisfaction and motivation as a result. So, in Herzberg's opinion, motivation is all about job content. So, if you want to motivate staff, you need to provide them with job enrichment programs. Both two theories prove that our motivations are not only about money and that we are not as endlessly predictable and manipulable as you would think.
Could you please speak rather slower?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Now it's time to move on to leave it there and move on to my second point. The set of studies on motivation. Our motivations are unbelievably interesting. The science is really surprising. And there's a whole set of unbelievably curious studies. I want to give you 2. They call into question the idea that if you reward something, you get more of the behavior you want, and if you punish something, you get less of it. So let's start with the experiment done at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Here's what they did. They took a whole group of students and gave them a set of challenges. Things like memorizing the strings of digits, solving word puzzles, and even such physical tasks as throwing a ball through the hoop. So they gave them these challenges and they said to incentivize their performance. They gave them 3 levels of rewards. And here's what they found. That as long as the task involved only mechanical skill, bonuses worked as they were expected. The higher the pay, the better the performance. Okay, that makes sense, but what happens then? Once the task involves rudimentary cognitive skill, the larger reward leads to poorer performance. Well, this is strange. The larger reward led to poorer performance. How could it possibly be? The larger reward led to poorer performance. This defies the laws of the behavioral physics, such as strange finding. So, what do? They say, well, this is free. Let's go test it somewhere else. Maybe that $50 of price isn't sufficiently motivating for an MIT student. So, let's go somewhere where $50 is most significant sum. And they decide that the experiment will take place in Madurai in India, rural India. So they carry out the experiment roughly as follows. They take another group of people and they also give them 3 levels of rewards. But what happened though was that the people offered the medium reward did no better than the people offered the small reward. And people offered the account, the people offered the top reward did worst of all. So high incentives lead to worse performance. But what can we do with this? How can we motivate staff but not with the financial reward? That leads me to my next point. And there are 3 key factors that scientists show lead to a better performance: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Autonomy is a desire to be self-directed. If you want engagement, and here's what we want from in workforce today, as people are doing more complicated, sophisticated tasks, self-direction is bad. Let me give an example of this. There is an Australian company, Atlassian, the software company, and they do something really cool. Once a quarter, they say to their developers, for the next 24 hours, you can work on anything you want. You can do it wherever you want, with whoever you want. The only thing that we ask is that you show the results to the company at the end of these 24 hours. And it turns out that this one day of pure, undiluted autonomy leads to a whole array of solutions for existing software programs and a whole array of the ideas for new products that otherwise have never emerged. Now let's talk about mastery. Mastery is the urge to get better at stuff. So just imagine, you get a bunch of people from around the world who do highly skilled work, but they're willing to do it for free. And then what they create, they give it away rather than sell it. Well, this is straight. And this is the way that such web services as Linux, Apache, and Wikipedia appeared. Their creators don't receive money for their job. But why are these people doing this? Why do the people who most of whom are technically sophisticated, highly skilled people who have jobs do the work not for the employer but for someone else for free? Challenging mastery along with making a contribution is the answer. And now the last motivator, the purpose. The purpose, well, it's clear. Your purpose is your vision. It's a goal that's bigger than you are. It's the basis for any human's motivation. And a great example of such motivation is shown at Apple company, where employees, when hired, receive such a kind of inspiring letter, where the point of which is that those who work at Apple want their work to add up to something big, something that had never happened anywhere, that couldn't happen anywhere else. So, to create something really great, this is the purpose. Now we're almost at the end of the presentation, and I would like us to remember the key points: that motivation theories, experimental research, and successful companies' practice show us that money is not the main motivator. And if you want really incredible results, provide your staff with autonomy, give them mastery, and show them a great purpose. And I would like to finish my presentation with a quote of the most famous businessman of the 21st century, the person who knows really a lot about motivation, Steve Jobs. He said, motivation is an art of making people do something that you want them to do so that they think they want to do it themselves. So thank you for your attention, and I'll be happy to take your questions now.
Thanks a lot.